Right. So meanwhile, please study. So good afternoon and welcome to yet another online tutorial on microwaves and antennas. Right. So we were discussing about arrays of two isotropic point sources. Right. So the first case, sorry, we finished discussing yesterday. That is arrays two isotropic point sources having excited with same amplitude and same phase, separated by a distance d, kept symmetric with respect to origin. Right. So what we have assumed is, as the electric field intensities we have considered as the phases. So phasor E1 and phasor E2, they will have same magnitude as the excitations are of same amplitude. But there will be a phase difference. I told in general that phase difference will be dependent upon the path difference. That is the difference in this the length R1 and R2. You can see this much is the path difference, and that will be common for all the cases, right? So by using geometry, we found out it is equal to d cos phi. So the path difference is d cos phi. That will be common for all the 5 cases which I discussed. But in this case, the initial phase offset is 0. Why? Because both are having actually what same phase. So the total phase difference depends only on this path difference, and the corresponding phase difference for this d cos phi path difference, we know it is 2 pi by lambda times d cos phi. So all those things we have done. Then finally, the resultant field E is the phasor sum of E1 and A2. You may have some confusion with how have I considered this as E1, E2 phasors. What exactly is that? So I even don't know what is that E naught, right? I told that is the magnitude, right? I even don't know what is that E naught. For instance, what we are assuming is we have two isotropic sources, right, located symmetric with respect to origin in xy plane, and I am interested in far field pattern at some distant point in xy plane itself, right? So if you ask me what is that E naught, I seriously don't know, right? And we are not bothered about that. Whatever be that E naught, right? What we can do is we can represent it as a phasor, and we can come to these solutions. So these are the field patterns. If you see, right, this is the actual field pattern. I can call it field pattern actually, but it's a function of phi, right? As phi changes, how the field intensity changes. You can see 2E0 is a maximum value, right? And it is a function of cosine, and argument of cosine itself is actually what? Another function of cosine. So, right, and it's a function of d, right? If the separation is changed, of course the field pattern will change, right? And of course this excitations, if I change again, then the field pattern will change, right? So that is what we got. That is the result we got. And the normalized field pattern is actually, we have to divide the actual field pattern with the maximum, that is cos of phi by lambda times d cos phi. This again we obtained. Then we were seeing some examples. For example, I told they'll be asking two isotropic radiators excited with same magnitude and phase is separated by a distance of lambda by 2. Find the field pattern and hence plot it. That is what they'll ask. So this is a general expression. So this much it's common. If it is case 1, if the question is from case 1 is same amplitude and phase, right? Whatever be the value of d, till finding the generalized normalized pattern, it is the same. En is cos pi by lambda times d cos phi. So in question, if d is equal to lambda by 2, just substitute d equal to lambda by 2 in this particular expression, right? Then you will get this. So if d is equal to lambda by 2, En is equal to cos pi by 2 times cos phi, right? That is what we have done yesterday. And for this particular thing, we found what is the direction of maxima, direction of nulls, right? And say that half power points, all those things we found, right? And one more example which we were trying out yesterday is d equal to lambda. If d is equal to lambda, if you substitute d equal to lambda here, what you will get in this expression? If you substitute d equal to lambda, what you will get? En will be equal to cos of, this is pi by lambda times lambda. So lambda and lambda will get cancelled. So it will be cos of pi cosine of phi. So this is the normalized field pattern when d is equal to lambda, right? Now maybe we'll try if d is equal to say lambda by 4, what will be the case? If d is equal to lambda by 4, what will be the case? En will be, can anyone tell me what will be En if d is equal to lambda by 4? Substitute d is equal to lambda by 4 here. D is equal to lambda by 4 in this particular expression. What will you get? I'll get cos of, is it cos of pi by 4 times cos phi? Right. So depending upon the separation, we will get different normalized pattern, and as the separation changes, of course, the radiation pattern will change. So now in exam, what will be asked is, right, you have to find this pattern. So this you have to find, and after that you have to plot it. You have to sketch it. If you have to sketch it, you should know what is the direction of maxima, what is the direction of minima, what are the half power points. Those things you should know. And in general, if you have to find maxima, right, if you have to find maxima, what you should do is you should equate En, right, in fact, to be equal to plus or minus 1, for which value En will be equal to plus or minus 1, right? So this values of phi corresponding to which En is plus or minus 1, or in other words, I can write mod En is equal to 1. In anything is fine. Anything, both are actually the same, right? So we have written En is equal to plus or minus 1. So for the phi value corresponding to En plus or minus 1 will give you the direction of maxima. And if you have to find direction of minima, I'm not repeating it. If you have to find direction of minima, you have to equate En is equal to 0. En is equal to 0. And to find half power points, you have to equate En to be equal to 1 by root 2. Right, En to be equal to 1 by root 2. En to be equal to 1 by root 2. And the general conditions which you have to remember is general conditions. Right. I'll just discuss the general things, then we'll move on to the next case. So general condition, right? Conditions which you should remember is, right, cos phi is equal to plus or minus 1 implies actually what? Phi should be plus if k times pi, right? Phi should be plus or minus k times pi. This k can be 0, 1, 2, etc. Right. So when phi is 0, pi, or even actually what integer multiples of pi, 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, whatever it is, the value of cos phi will be plus or minus 1. You know that. It's simple, basic actually what trigonometry. That's it. Right. Then if cos phi is, say 0, which if cos phi has to be 0, which implies phi has to be odd multiples of pi by 2. So how can I write it mathematically? Plus or minus 2k plus 1 times pi by 2, where k again will be 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Right. And one more thing, right, to find half power points, it's not phi, cos of something, right? It need not always be phi. So cos of some big expression. It can be cos of actually what? A big expression of phi. Or cos of something. If cos of something has to be 0, that something or that argument has to be odd multiples of pi by 2. And similarly, one more ground rule is cos of something. For instance, I'll call phi. If it has to be 1 by root 2, in fact, plus or minus 1 by root 2, I should be equating it to plus or minus 1 by root 2. Why? Because magnitude is 1 by root 2, 0.707 the maximum, right? Plus or minus 1 by root 2, which implies, can anyone tell me what should be phi in this case? If cos phi has to be plus or minus 1 by root 2, what should be phi? We discussed yesterday. It's very, very basic math. Or 2 into 45, is it possible? Can even multiples of 45 will give you magnitude 1 by root 2 times maximum? No, it should be odd multiples of 45 degree or odd multiples of pi by 4. So I can write it as, it is equal to plus or minus 2k plus 1 times pi by 4. Again, k is equal to 0, 1, etc. Right. So these things, if you are okay with these things, then any problem as such, if it comes, you'll be able to solve it. But there can be some twist, right? A twist in the sense if there is actually what initial phase offset, if it is of if both the antennas are not fed with same phase, then we have to add something later while finding the expression of field intensity, field pattern. Otherwise, everything is going to be normal, right? So, any doubt in these things? These are the prerequisites or ground rules, right? Are you okay with these things? So I'll repeat, I'll quickly summarize. If you have to find maximum of a radiation pattern, normalized pattern, you should equate it to plus or minus 1 for which value of argument of whatever cosine or whatever, or for which value of the variable the normalized field pattern is equal to plus or minus 1. Those directions will give you maxima. And for which values of the argument or which values of the variable, like En is equal to 0, that will give you the direction of minima. And to find half power points, you have to equate the normalized field pattern to 1 by root 2. So you are familiar with that, right? There is nothing new in that. And again, as in this case, as our field pattern is a cosine function, right? So cos of phi will be plus or minus 1 when phi is equal to plus or minus k pi, or phi is integer multiple of pi. And cos of phi will be 0 when phi is odd multiples of pi by 2. Cos of phi will be plus or minus 1 by root 2 when phi is odd multiple of pi by 4. Those things, if you remember, any case, in any variant of the case 1, you will be able to solve, right? And maybe we'll solve more problems. While solving problem, I'll solve it in detail. Now, if I keep on solving problem, we won't be able to move forward, right? That's why. So this is the basic thing. Any doubt in this? Maybe I would like to hear from you. If you have any doubt. If anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask. Are you getting some idea at least? Even if it is not 100% clear, not a problem. I'll be posting the video, and of course, we'll be solving problems. Right. At that time, you will get a clarity. Yeah, thank you. So we'll move ahead. Thank you, Sherwin, for the response. So now we'll move ahead, and now we'll one second. Okay, yeah. So now we'll move ahead and we'll move on to the next case. Next case is arrays of 2 isotropic point sources of 2 isotropic point sources. Case 2 is same amplitude, but opposite phase. Same amplitude, but opposite phase. Right. So this is the case. So in this, again, right, we have, I'll draw the same diagram once again, so that you all will be familiar with it. Right. So we have y-axis, this is our x-axis, right? Origin, this is x, and this is y, right? And we have, right, we are interested in far field pattern at some distance, right? So we are seeing, so here I have the source 1, and here I have actually what, source 2, and this separation is d, and of course this much will be d cos phi, right? This much will be d cos phi. This angle is actually what, phi, right? This angle is phi, right? And of course this angle is also phi, right? So the path difference is actually d cos phi, right? So this is R1, this is R, and this is R2, right? R1, R, and R2. So we are interested in far field pattern. So suppose the field pattern, field due to source 1 is phasor E1 here, phasor field due to source 1 is E1 here, and phasor field due to source 2 is E2 here, and the resultant field E is actually what, E1 plus E2. That it is the same system model what we have. But the problem here is, right, the source 1 is excited with V0 e power j pi, right? And source 2 is excited with v naught e power j0 or v naught itself, right? Or v naught angle pi or v naught, right? Same thing I can write v naught angle pi and v naught angle 0. So the source itself has a phase offset of actually 180 degree. That is the case now. Source themselves have actually a phase offset of 180 degree, right? So in this case again, if we are assuming, right, in this case again, if we are assuming origin as phase reference, so again we'll be assuming origin as phase reference, right? Origin as phase reference, right? And what I can do is, right, the total phase difference between E1 and E2 will be actually what I can maybe, as it is the first one I'm solving, I'll write it in detail. Right? Total phase difference between the phases E1 and E2 will be, right, phase difference due to path difference, phase difference due to path difference plus initial phase offset. Initial phase difference between excitations, I'll write initial phase difference between excitations, right? So phase difference due to path difference is nothing but what? Phase difference due to path difference, right? That will be nothing but psi, right? Phase difference due to path difference is nothing but psi, and initial phase difference between excitation is actually what? Pi, right? This is the total phase difference, right? Total phase difference, right? Total phase difference is, okay, 1 second. I'll write psi total is equal to psi plus pi, where psi is nothing but what? Phase difference due to path difference, right? Psi, I'll write path difference, psi PD, it will be equal to actually what? 2 pi by lambda times d. It will be equal to 2 pi by lambda times d cos phi, or else I can write it as actually what? Dr cos phi, right? I can write it as dr cos phi. Now, the next part is a bit tricky, right? Next part is a bit tricky. So, if just consider this V naught e power j pi and V naught e power j0, right? If I expand it using Euler's theorem, right? V naught e power j pi, I'll write V naught e power j pi will be V naught into cos pi plus j sin pi. So cos pi, you know, it is actually what? -1, and sin pi is actually what? 0. So this will be equal to minus V naught, right? V naught e power minus j pi, right? So one way of tackling this problem is, right? One way of tackling this problem is we can write V1 equal to minus V2, right? Suppose V2 is equal to V naught, then V1 is equal to minus V naught. This is one way of tackling this problem, right? This is one way of tackling this problem. Or otherwise, I can write, right? So we are assuming origin as phase reference. We are assuming origin as phase reference, right? Origin as phase reference, which means, I will repeat, if the source was kept at origin, right, the field at a distance r would have, the phasor field at a distance r would have a zero phase, right? When I say origin as phase reference, it simply means instead of keeping the source at 1 or 2 or at any other place, if I had kept the source at origin, the phasor field expression, the phasor field at a distance r would have zero phase. That is in connection with actually what? Path difference. So considering that, I will write. So we can write, right? So this is one way, right? I'll tell you later. Right. So considering that, I can write E1, right? I can write E1 will be equal to E naught e power minus j psi by 2 plus pi, and E2 I can write as E naught e power j psi by 2, right? So I can write E1 as E naught e power minus j psi by 2 plus pi, and E2 E naught e power j psi by 2. I know you have a lot of confusion here, right? I'll explain it now. So which means with respect to phase reference, E1, right, only due to E1 is actually what? Lagging by an amount psi by 2 plus pi, or E1 is lagging because the radiation from source 1 has to travel more distance compared to origin. That is one thing. And apart from that, there is an additional phase offset, right? So that phase offset I have added here, right? Already this is due to actually what? Path difference. This psi by 2 is due to path difference, right? It's actually what? Lagging. It is minus j psi by 2. Apart from that, there is an initial phase offset of excitation, right? Initial phase offset. That's why I have written it like this. But E2, it is actually what? E2 is simply leading the phase reference. E2 is simply leading the phase reference, right? So the phasor field due to radiation 1, E1 is equal to E naught e power minus j psi by 2 plus pi, where the psi by 2 minus psi by 2 is due to the path difference, and this minus pi, it is due to actually what? Minus pi or plus pi, both are actually what? Same. For instance, right, if you consider the complex plane, if I take plus pi, it is actually what? I have to travel 180 degree in anti-clockwise sense. I'll reach here, right? So this is plus pi. If I travel minus pi, again I have to travel in clockwise sense, but again I'll reach here. So whether it is plus pi or minus pi, it doesn't make any difference here. So I have written it as actually what? Minus pi. It's not a problem, right? If you want, you can write it as minus pi. E pro minus j psi by 2 minus pi also would be fine. So this E naught, further I can write as this E naught is, right, e power minus j psi by 2 into e power minus j pi, right? E power minus j psi by 2 into e power minus j pi, right? E power minus j psi by 2 into e power minus j pi, right? So it is equal to E naught into e power minus j psi by 2. What is e power minus j pi? What is e power minus j pi? I'll write here e power minus j pi. It is equal to cos of minus pi plus j sine of minus pi. What is cos of minus 180? Cos of minus 180 plus 180, whatever it is actually what? Minus 1, and j sine pi will be 0. So e power minus j pi is nothing but what? Minus 1. E power minus j pi is nothing but minus 1. So, or in other words, you can see it's a complex number. It's a complex number with magnitude 1 and phase equal to pi, which is a complex number with magnitude 1 and phase equal to pi. So complex number, phase equal to pi means this is phase equal to 0. From here I should travel pi, right? And magnitude is 1. Magnitude is 1. So it will be minus 1. So e power minus j pi, right? E power minus j pi. Please remember this. E power minus j pi, it is equal to minus 1, right? So it is into minus 1. So I can write it as actually what? Minus E naught e power minus j psi by 2. Right? You don't have to write these entire thing. Okay, you can straight away write E1 is equal to minus E naught e power j minus j psi by 2. For you to understand, I am just breaking it down into small steps. That's it. So the resultant field E will be equal to E1 plus E2. Resultant field E will be equal to E1 plus E2. Did anyone has any doubt in this? Please feel free to ask. Any doubt in this? how I have written this E1 and E2. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Others, if any doubt, please feel free to ask. Please don't try to settle with whatever doubt you have. These are very basic things. You have to be comfortable with the concept of complex number. That's it. Right. So I hope, I assume it's clear. So only one feedback I got. So I assume it's clear. Maybe, or it's later. If you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Not a problem. Right. So I can write it is equal to minus E naught e power minus j psi by 2 plus E naught e power j psi by 2. So this is our net field, right? This is our net field, right? So I can, again, E naught I can take common, E naught I can take common, then e power j psi by 2 minus e power minus j psi by 2, right? So I need to get it in terms of actually what, sine or cos. Right, I need to get it in terms of sine or cos. So I know by Euler's identity, right, cos theta, it is equal to actually what, e power j theta plus e power minus j theta by 2, and sine theta, which is imaginary part of e power j theta, it can be obtained as e power j theta minus e power minus j theta divided by 2j. So this is e power j psi by 2 minus e power minus j psi by 2. So if I divide and multiply with the 2j, right, if I divide and multiply with the 2j, right, I can write this as actually what, sine psi by 2. I can write this as sine psi by 2. Right, that's what we are going to write next. Right, so there is a j here. There is a j here. So that is equal to j times 2 E naught, j times 2 E naught. Right, this is actually what, sine psi by 2, j times 2 E naught sine psi by 2. This is E, right? Or in other words, right, if I draw the phasor, you will be able to appreciate it in a better way. Right, I'll draw the phasor now. This is my phase reference. This is my phase reference. And E2 is as usual. E2 is this. E2 is leading phase reference by an amount psi by 2. So this is my E2, and E1 is what is E1? E1, if you remember, I'll write here, right? E1, it is E naught e power minus j psi by 2, right, plus pi. So it is actually what I should measure, psi by 2 plus pi in anti-clockwise sense. So if it is psi by 2 minus psi by 2, it is actually what, this much. Minus psi by 2 is actually this much. This plus pi will be actually what, it will be exactly opposite. Right? It will be exactly opposite to that. It will be exactly opposite. Sorry. Yeah. So this is actually what, minus psi by 2. And if I have to measure a pi with respect to that, it will be exactly opposite. 180 degree phase shift means it's actually what, opposite to that, right? So this is pi. So total is actually what, from here till here, the total phase is minus psi by 2 minus pi, right? So this is E1. So this is E1. If you add these two, what you will get after complete the parallelogram, right? Like how we'll add phases. That's it. Then if we add, this is what we are getting. So you can see this will justify why there was a j. Right, why there is a j. This will justify why there is a j in the expression. Right, why? Because the resultant is purely imaginary. So this is real axis. Oh, sorry, I should take a pen. Right. Okay, so this is real axis, and this is supposed to be imaginary axis. Right, and this, the resultant E, it is actually what, purely imaginary. Right, resultant E is purely imaginary. That is why this j times 2 E naught sine psi by 2. This j signifies the resultant is purely imaginary. Or in other words, I can tell purely imaginary means what is the phase shift with respect to the reference. This will be, phase shift will be actually what, pi by 2. So another way of writing this is, right, another way of writing this is E is equal to 2 E naught sine psi by 2. This is the phase. This is the magnitude. Right. This is the magnitude. Right. And times angle pi by 2. This is magnitude and this is phase. Right. Or else I can write this is equal to 2 E naught sine psi by 2 times e power j pi by 2. Again, this part is magnitude and this part is phase. Right. So now, right, even when you were doing, when you were actually taking, if you think of Fourier transform, right, when you take Fourier transform of a time domain signal, you have magnitude response and phase response. Right, you'll plot the magnitude and phase, which means the resultant, if it is a complex quantity, right, if the resultant of whatever operation you are doing, if the resultant is a complex quantity, right, it will have a magnitude and phase. So in this case, phase is a constant, right? Phase is a constant, phase is pi by 2. But in some other cases, phase can also be a function of phi. This phase can also be a function of phi. Then what I can do is if I plot the magnitude versus phi, that will give me actually what? Magnitude pattern. If I plot the magnitude versus phi, that will give me magnitude pattern. If I plot the phase versus phi, it will give me phase pattern. So in this case, phase pattern will be for whichever value of whatever be the value of phi, the phase is constant. So that will be equal to pi by 2. So phase pattern will be like this. Phase pattern will be like this, and that will be equal to pi by 2 in this particular case. So I hope I told you later on I'll mention what exactly is phase pattern. So it's very simple, nothing complicated. So whichever be the transformation you are doing, be it is actually in this case finding the field, electric field intensity, or finding actually Fourier transform of a time domain function, time domain signal, the resultant, if it is a complex quantity, it will have a magnitude as well as phase. If you plot magnitude as a function of f there, that will give you magnitude response. If you plot phase as a function of f there, that would have given you phase response. In this case, if you plot magnitude as a function of phi, you will get magnitude response, and if you are plotting phase as a function of pi, that you will get phase response. Now you might have understood. Right now, I would request you to go back to the introductory session of radiation pattern. There I told in order to define radiation pattern of an antenna, we need magnitude of theta component of electric field, magnitude of phi component of electric field, and phase. Do you anyone remember that? Anyone remember that? I told we need magnitude and phase. Now are you able to relate it? At that time, I didn't tell why, because I didn't have an example as such. But now I have an example where we have actually, I have magnitude and phase. But here phase is a constant, of course. But did you understand what is meant by magnitude and phase response? Not only in this, in any case, even if it is a, if you're taking frequency of a spectrum of a signal, right? Whether you understood what is magnitude and phase response. If yes, please do type in. And this multiplication, so normally we tend to get, say, confused. If you say a j and all, we don't like that actually. If there is a j, then normally we tend to get disconnected. Why? Because j, it's not familiar with us. We don't want to deal with complex numbers. But it's very simple. It simply means if you're multiplying something with j, you can either interpret it as actually what it's a purely imaginary quantity, or in other words, it's a complex quantity with magnitude equal to whatever is there except j, and it has a phase shift compared to the reference by an amount pi by 2. If it is plus j, phase shift is actually what? Plus pi by 2. If it is minus j, that will be minus pi by 2. You might have used it, right? You might be familiar with this, but normally students tend to get disconnected when they see complex expressions. We don't want to do that, right? We are comfortable with this. Right. So that is the expression. So now we'll come to this. Right. So that is our expression. That is, I can write not E naught, it would have been E. Right. Excuse me. So E, right, magnitude of E I can write. Magnitude of E will be 2 E naught sine psi by 2, right? That is magnitude of E, and angle of E will be equal to pi by 2 for all phi, right? Pi by 2 for all phi. Now, this magnitude of E, unless otherwise specified, we are interested in this magnitude pattern now, right? Unless otherwise mentioned, we are interested in this magnitude pattern, right? So what is the meaning of this? The phase pattern, phase is pi by 2, which means the resultant field is 90 degree out of phase with respect to the phase reference. Again, the phase reference, it's up to our convenience. In this case, I have considered origin as phase reference. Instead of that, what you can do, source 1 as phase reference you can take. Then the result will be different. So in next class, I will show you one more approach. Right? Instead of considering origin as phase reference, I can take source 1 or source 2 as phase reference. Then the resultant expression magnitude will remain the same, only the phase part will change. We'll see that now, later, not now. Right? So unless otherwise specified, when I write E, it is the magnitude pattern. Right? Unless otherwise specified, when I write E, we are interested in the magnitude pattern. Right? So E, I will write it is 2E naught sine psi by 2, where psi, if you remember, it is 2 pi by lambda times d cos phi, or as mentioned in your textbook, it is dr cos phi, right? So I can write it as 2E naught sine of 2 pi by lambda times d by 2. So it will be pi by lambda times d cos phi. Just see, right? The same setup, right? Same setup. Two isotropic sources are separated by a distance d. When I excited it with same phase, I was getting cos of something. But when I reverse the polarity of one of the sources, then I'm getting sine. Right? I'm getting sine. 2E naught sine pi by lambda times d cos phi. This is the second case, field. If you are asked to derive only the field, you have to write only this much. Right? You have to write only this much. And of course, I can write now, normalized field will be equal to, you have to divide it with 2E naught. So that will be sine of pi by lambda times d cos phi. Now, shall we try and find for a distance d equal to lambda by 2, how the pattern will look like? Today, I'm not going to use GeoGebra and plot it. Right. Before that, we'll try to find that. Right. So, case A, d equal to lambda by 2. Plot pattern. Right. Plot pattern. When I say pattern, it is magnitude pattern. Phase pattern is independent of actually what d, or independent of say phi. Right. It's independent of d and independent of phi. Phase pattern. But magnitude pattern is dependent on d as well as phi. So for d equal to lambda by 2, I can write En will be equal to sine of pi by lambda by 2. So it will be sine of pi by 2 times cos phi. Sine of pi by 2 times cos phi. Right. So this is the normalized field. So now again I will do, right, to find maxima. To find maxima. Please, all of you can do it along with me itself. Right. To find maxima, En is equal to plus or minus 1. That is sine of pi by 2 times cos phi is equal to plus or minus 1. So sine of something has to be plus or minus 1. Sine of theta has to be plus or minus 1. So it's either actually what, 90 degree or 270 degree, or plus or minus 90 degree I can write. Right. So sine will be 90 degree or 270 degree, or else in general I can write 2k plus 1 times pi by 2. For odd multiples of pi by 2, sine will take positive or negative maximum. Right. So I can write sine of something is plus or minus 1, which implies that something has to be, that something is nothing but what, pi by 2 cos phi. Now argument of sine is nothing but pi by 2 cos phi. That has to be, say, plus or minus 2k plus 1 into pi by 2, plus or minus 2k plus 1 into pi by 2. So what happens is pi by 2 and pi by 2 gets cancelled. So we have, so we should always write k is equal to 0, 1, 2, etc. Right. So which implies cos phi is plus or minus 2k plus 1, and phi is cos inverse of plus or minus 2k plus 1. Right. So now we have to see for which values of k the argument of cos inverse is within the limit. The argument of cos inverse, it should be within -1 and +1. Right. Or cos of something can maximum, the magnitude of cos theta can be what? 1. It cannot be more than that. So if you substitute k equal to 1 and all, it will become 3, so that it won't be a valid case. Right. So we can find, right, for k equal to 0, for k equals 0, we can write phi equal to cos inverse of plus or minus 2 into 0 plus 1. So it will be plus or minus 1. Right. Cos inverse of plus or minus 1. That is k times pi. Right. Plus or minus k times pi. Or in other words, it can be 0 degree and 180 degree. Right, 0 degree and 180 degree. We are interested in 0 to 360 variation. If it is actually what repeating, it doesn't make any sense for us, as we are interested in how the field pattern. So we have maxima, right? Maxima along 0 degree and 180 degree. In the previous case, can you tell me in which direction we had maxima? It was along the broad side of the array, right? Which was along phi equal to 90 degrees. So we have this time we will get a pattern like this. Maxima will be like this, and minima will be along. We should get minima should be along 90 and 270. Right. Maxima will be along 0 and 180, and we have to find out the half power points. We will have 4 half power points. That's what I'm assuming. Right. We'll try and find that. Right. So minima you can find. So please find minima. Minima I'm not solving. Maybe I think I should help you out with finding half power points. Right. So minima, you can do it as a homework. Right. I'm not solving it. You can do it as a homework, but I'll help you find out maxima. Not maxima, half power points. So half power points, to find half power points, you should equate En to 1 by root 2. In fact, it should be plus or minus 1 by root 2. It can be positive 1 by root 2 or negative 1 by root 2. So that is En is plus or minus 1 by root 2 means sine of pi by 2 times cos phi is plus or minus 1 by root 2. Right. Sine of something has to be 1 by root 2. Sine of something, say sine theta, has to be plus or minus 1 by root 2 means, again, it should be actually what? Odd multiples of 45 degree, right? Odd multiples of pi by 4. Sorry. Odd multiples of pi by 4. Right. Sine of something, if it has to be 1 by root 2, plus or minus 1 by root 2, it should be odd multiples of pi by 4. So I can write the something, the argument pi by 2 cos phi should be equal to plus or minus 2k plus 1 times pi by 4. So this pi and pi gets cancelled, and 2 by 4, it will be by 2 there. So I can write cos phi will be plus or minus 2k plus 1 divided by 2. It will be plus or minus 2k plus 1 divided by 2. So which implies phi is equal to cos inverse of plus or minus 2k plus 1 by 2. And in this case, we should get 4, say, half power points. So we can find there is actually by 2 factor there. So for k equal to 0 and k equal to 1, this will be valid. Right. The argument will be a valid argument. So I can find for k equal to 0, phi will be equal to cos inverse of, right, plus or minus k equal to 0, right? 2 into 0, it is 0. 0 plus 1, 1 by 2, plus or minus cos inverse of plus or minus 1 by 2. Right? Phi is equal to cos inverse of plus or minus 1 by 2, which means cos should be plus 1 by 2 or minus 1. Yesterday I have shown you, if you plot a cosine wave, it will be like this: 0, pi by 2, pi, right? Then say 3 pi by 2 and 2 pi, right? So for which values of the argument, cos will take half. So here between 0 and 90, it will, like, this is 1 and this is 0, and this is actually what? Minus 1, right? Swings between plus 1 and minus 1. So between 0 and 90, somewhere there will be a half, right? And again, between 90 and 120, there will be two places where this cosine of something will be half. And of course, here again, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 angles, right? So for which values of phi we have cos theta equal to 1 by 2? Can you tell me what are these values? I think it's something similar to what we have done yesterday, right? Which are these angles? Cos inverse of plus 1 by 2 and cos inverse of minus 1 by 2. Please tell me. Pi by 3 and plus or minus pi by 3, right? No, not plus or minus pi by 3.
Sir, pi by 3 and 2 pi by 3.
Pi by 3 and 2 pi by 3, right? So in second quadrant, it will be in first quadrant and second quadrant, right? Yeah, of course, correct, right? So it is pi by 3 and 2 pi by 3, right? Pi by 3 and 2 pi by 3, right? That is for k equal to 0, and for k equal to 1, we will get phi is equal to cos inverse of plus or minus 2 into 1 is actually what? No, for k equal to 1, it will be actually what? 1 plus 2 into 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 by 2, it will be actually what? For k equal to 1, it won't be valid. So it will be plus or minus pi by 3 and plus or minus 2 pi by 3, right? So for plus pi by 3 and minus pi by 3, we will have actually what? Magnitude to be equal to half. And of course, for plus 2 pi by 3 and minus 2, sorry, excuse me, right? I told k equal to 1 and k equal to 0. So k equal to 1, this will, for k equal to 1, this will be 3 by 2, that is greater than 1. So cos cannot take value greater than 1. So it's not valid, right? So k equal to 1 is not a valid case, right? So for plus pi by 3 and plus or minus pi by 3 and plus or minus 2 pi by 3, we will have. So I request you to plot this as plot this pattern as a homework. Also find the direction of null. Direction of null will be 90 and 270 degrees. You can find it out. So I think I'll just wind it up here. It's already 1 o'clock. If any doubt is there, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll wind up here. Is it okay now compared to yesterday? Are you getting more clarity, Savan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. So if any doubt is there, you can ask. Otherwise, you can leave. Not a problem. Right. Yeah, thank you.